The United States owns all aircraft carriers in the world, and their total deck space is more than double that of all other nations combined. The United States is unrivaled when it comes to aircraft carriers, and the $17 billion USS Gerald Ford supercarrier would make that even more true. The USS Gerald Ford has led America's first class of aircraft carriers for more than 4 decades, and its deployment is unlike anything else, despite efforts by other nations to keep up. The new American flagship, the $17 billion USS Gerald Ford, has arrived. It is a global introduction to the upcoming class of aircraft carriers. The ultimate representation of the military's military might would be the next generation of aircraft carriers. These massive floating air bases, a mobile version of every nation's lethality and packed with the most cutting-edge technology of recent decades, could win battles solely through intimidation. However, there is a battle that, if you will, would be the most frightening because a few other nations, including the United States, are also developing new and deadly next-generation aircraft carriers. It is our responsibility to examine each one in detail, beginning with the headline maker. The carrier class that would produce the most recent and cutting-edge aircraft carriers for the United States Navy is referred to as the Gerald Ford class. 10 transporters are made arrangements for this class, 2 are as of now in progress, while 1 has been finished and is dynamic. This one is the supercarrier USS Gerald Ford. Before it was finished, the USS Gerald Ford was already the most advanced carrier in the world, and rightfully so. The United States Navy had to halt over 9,000 other projects in order to construct it. The supercarrier had a displacement of a record 100,000 tons and 23 brand new technologies, 3 of which are industry marvels. Number 3, propulsion using nuclear energy. 2 nuclear reactors with the most cutting-edge water-based engines, the Bechdel A1B. How is the USS Gerald Ford doing now? With a maximum speed of around 30 knots, the supercarrier could access every country on the planet just in time to pay friendly visits to allies and wreak havoc on adversaries. As a result, the carrier can run for 25 years at a time without refueling. The second, UAVs and fighter jets from the United States. The USS Ford can house up to 75 unmanned aerial vehicles and fighter jets at any given time. This includes the F-35C Lightning II, the Navy's favorite child, whose development program is still the Pentagon's most expensive weapon development program to date, with a reported cost of $400 billion. The end result of such a costly program is a fighter who is capable of doing everything: vertical takeoff and landing, close air support, and everything in between. Additionally, the USS Ford already possesses the technologies necessary to host, launch, and arrest when the Navy's 6th-generation fax fighter is activated. The most advanced launch and arrest systems on the USS Ford are an innovative, first-of-its-kind electromagnetic launch system that can propel any type of aircraft into the air in the shortest amount of time, and an arresting gear that grinds them to a halt to prevent them from becoming sea divers. Before failing, these systems are capable of 4,100 takeoffs and 16,500 arrests. Despite its impressive nature, this assertion has not been established. How would the French airline fare in the face of similar systems being developed in France? France is now speeding up work on a new generation of aircraft carriers. Generation, or PONG for short, will take the place of the French Navy's 38,000-ton Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier. Development of the new plane-carrying warship is to begin in just 2 years. 2 K-22 nuclear reactors, which offer more than 75% more tonnage than the Charles de Gaulle it will replace, are planned to power the PANG aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier, which weighs 75,000 tons, is able to travel virtually unrestricted distances at speeds of nearly 27 knots because of this. It could sail indefinitely. The atomic impetus framework would likewise give the sufficient ability to ideally control the transporter's locally available frameworks. New electromagnetic arresters and catapults are among these systems. Until the new 6th-generation fighter developed by France, Germany, and Spain enters service, the aircraft that will be launched using these systems will likely initially be the Rafale M. At the Paris Air Show in 2019, a mock-up of this fighter was shown off. The design was beautiful, but the specifications make it deadly. This fighter would be accompanied on the battlefield by unmanned drones. The manned fighter would direct the subtasks that the drones would carry out. The Pang is designed to host drones as well in order to make use of the aircraft carrier's manned-unmanned teaming. This would be the first airline to accomplish this, other than the U.S. carriers. The aircraft carrier would also have a large number of helicopters on board, in addition to drones, and up to 32 fighters. The Pang will have more than 2,000 sailors to run all of these air-based assets and systems. There are many more factors that contribute to the estimated cost of $5 billion. China has also been making impressive moves on its own aircraft carriers, moving from an American ally to an adversary. The Type 003 Fujian, China's third aircraft carrier and the second largest in the world, is a model to be proud of. On June 17, 2022, the Fujian, which bears striking resemblance to the American supercarrier's design, went on sale in Mandarin. First and foremost, it eliminates its predecessor's assisted takeoff ramps. The Fujian is still a brand new aircraft carrier that was only launched a few months ago. Like most flagship military equipment, not much information has been made public about it. Nonetheless, there's sufficient to know exactly what the plane-carrying warship could offer. It has electromagnetic launch systems like the American supercarrier, but only 3 of them, as opposed to the 4 that the U.S. has. A nuclear propulsion system is superior to Fujian's conventional steam turbine-based propulsion system in many ways. With a displacement of 80,000 tons, the Fujian is 20% lighter than the Ford, which weighs 100,000 tons, and its smaller size results in a smaller air wing. The Chinese Navy will undoubtedly have multiple options for carrying out missions regardless of the precise number of supported aircraft at this time. Furthermore, virtually any type of aircraft can take off from Fujian with the electromagnetic launch systems operating. The fact that the Fujian is the first indigenous Chinese aircraft carrier to take center stage in the battle for aircraft carrier dominance is a significant milestone in both China's capacity building and the military's ever-increasing might. However, one of China's closest neighbors is also making impressive progress in the aircraft carrier space, just across a few borders. Korea South is this nation. The South Korean CVX is a plane-carrying warship, a work in progress for the Republic of Korea Naval Force, their very first plane-carrying warship. The Republic of Korea Navy's modernization program, which began in 2001, resulted in the CVX. The most cutting-edge sea-based South Korean assets, such as the Sejong the Great class, In-class, Engine class, Type 214 submarines, and Doctor-class amphibious assault ships, on which the CVX aircraft carrier is based, are the result of this program, which is known as a Blue Water Navy. The CBX will have an axial flight deck that is comparable to the ones found on the U.S. Navy's Tarawa, Wasp, and America-class ships. The South Korean Ministry of Defense confirmed in August 2020 that the CVX would receive 20 F-35Bs. The ship will accommodate the Republic of Korea Marine Corps' upcoming attack helicopters in terms of rotary wing aviation. The aircraft carrier, which would weigh 45,000 tons and have a top speed of 27 knots, would cost $1.8 billion. South Korea will now join China, Japan, India, and Thailand as aircraft carrier operating nations on the Asian continent. The CVX is expected to be commissioned in 2030 and put into service in 2033. Thus, South Korea, China, France, and the U.S. are 4 of the most outstanding countries parched to further develop their military could be projected across the oceans. The 2030s, when the vast majority of these plane-carrying warships will formally enter administration, makes certain to be an intriguing one. However, up to that point when the plane-carrying warships can really clash, the papers and speculations and computations recommend that the deadliest plane-carrying warships are the American Gerald Passage supercarriers, the lead of which has proactively been sent, a plane-carrying warship representing things to come released today. Subscribe to this channel and like this video to speed up the second deployment, and we'll see what we can do. I appreciate your viewing.